everyone, it is me, StoryFeather. Welcome to this engagement Saturday, until I find a better name to call it. Okay, so this is another episode of StoryFeather or storytelling. I can't remember what I called it, to be honest. Okay, so... I kicked the tripod there for a second. Oh, that sounds like an expression. He kicked the tripod. What should that mean? Okay, so if you know me, you know that I'm currently at university. It's not what we call university in the Netherlands, but it's, you know, the American equivalent to university. Okay, so it's pretty fun, but in the beginning, before I started it, I had to go to an introduction camp. And if you know me, you know that I hate camping. Why would I want to leave my house to sleep outside in a tent? So I wasn't particularly happy about that, but you had to go if you wanted to pick a class. And I thought, you know, maybe it's clever if I'm able to pick a class. So it all started on Tuesday. My father drove me all the way to the town where it was, because quite far away from where I live. Because my father has a car. So he drove me there because I couldn't take the train with my tent and my clothes, and yeah, I even had to take my bike. So I got there and there were these large fields with students everywhere, and I was like, I don't know anyone here! So I found an empty spot and just like threw my tent out, because it was one of those pop-up tents. Like, you throw it and it like pops! And it's a tent, because I don't know how to put up a normal tent. So I put it up and I just rammed those herrings on the side. Okay, I stopped recording there for a second because I called them herrings, and I think I was literally translating them, so I'm just gonna call them tent nails. Tent nails. So I put those tent nails to the side of the tent because I didn't think it had any of those loops. So I put them to the side and like hooked them to the skeleton of the tent into the ground. But because my tent wasn't waterproof, I had taken a giant sheet of thrashback material. So I put it over the tent and like duct taped it to the tent and duct taped it to the ground. So it was like, yeah, it looked like I was sleeping in a giant thrash bag. So I looked at the side and saw these other guys putting up their tents like right beside me. And there was this one guy who was quite tall, and he came up to me and I was like, whoa, you're pretty tall. And I'm pretty tall, but he's taller. And he was like, hi, I'm Leonard. And I was like, hi. And he asked how I was doing with my tent, because I think it was obvious that I was struggling. So I said, yeah, I think it's okay. He was like, you should put the nails through the loops and not through your tent skeleton. I was like, my tent doesn't have those loops. He said, yes, they're underneath the tent. No, they're not. Oh. He said, do you need more nails? Yeah. Okay, yeah, I've got plenty. I've got ground nails, sand nails, rock nails. Just want to put my tent into the ground. I don't know. I'll just get you. I don't know what he said then. But he gave me those and he was like, yeah, nice to meet you and stuff. And I was like, you're nice. And he looked at me like, okay. Later on, because we're friends now, he told me that it was quite strange of me to say that. But I don't think so. I was just being honest. But anyway, after that, we were all divided into groups, like random groups. So there were these two third years, I think. Yeah, they're third years. Who were like the leaders of my group. And three or four other first years who were just starting out. We all had to wear these shirts with a lot of sponsors on the back, mainly all bars in town. So we started off doing hilarious games. They were like fun. It was stuff like Twister on a trampoline, like a bouncy cushion, bouncy castle material, but it also was covered with water, so you'd get wet. It was annoying as shit. So we had to do all of those fun games, but at that same day it was very hot. There was sun. I almost burned, but anyway, there was sun. And you know how a tent covered with thrashback material, which is black and doesn't let air through, might get extremely hot in that kind of weather. So I got into my tent to change shirts, and it was like 40 degrees Celsius, of course, because otherwise it would be freezing, but that's like 100 degrees in Fahrenheit, I think, around that. It was so hot, I was like... So I changed shirts and I thought I was like covered in sweat. Something else we had to do, we had to visit all of the bars and nightclubs that had sponsored our camp, which were like 12! And I hate that! I don't drink alcohol, and I am not legally allowed to drink alcohol, but I don't want to either. So we were like going past clubs and bars, and everyone was like, "Oh, alcohol!" Oh, and I was like, "Oh, I want to go home. Like, not to the tent. I want to go home. This sucks." So, but we were obligated to take a picture of us in every bar and post it on social media. So every picture was of my group being like, and then I was in the back standing like this. They're pretty funny pictures, actually. I don't know if I can find them, but if I can, I'll display one on the screen right now. So it was like really late, and I'm a very heavy sleeper, so I almost fell asleep like there on a random bar. Just kidding, the music was way too loud. But anyway, I went home to my tent and all of the others had to come because they were responsible for us, and I didn't know the road back to the camp. So, like, the leaders of our group were super drunk, and they followed us around like, "Oh, I'm hungry, let's go somewhere to eat." But it was like 4 a.m. There was no place to eat. In the middle of nowhere, no street lights. It was like forest, I think, a path alongside a forest. And they suddenly stopped and yelled, "Wait!" So we all hit the brakes on our bicycles and we turned around and we're like, "Gotta order a pizza first? Here?" Oh! So after a long journey, we finally got home and I went to sleep to my tent, and the next morning everyone was like hungover. But I was like, no alcohol for me! Alright, so the food was all paid for by the... What am I saying? I had to pay 80 freaking euros! Okay, so we paid all for our own food. So anyway, we went and got dinner at a restaurant with 300 students. So we got there and everyone was like, "I don't like this food, it's gross." But I thought it was awesome, so I got my plate because it was like a buffet. And I got everything. I got fries, shawarma, rice, sauces, and I had like a mountain, like you see in series and cartoons and stuff. I had that, and I ate it all. And I even went for a second time for just a little less, of course, but I ate so much. So that was fun. And that night there would be like a campfire, and everyone would be like, "Yay, campfire," and stuff. But I was like, no, it's 2 a.m, I am tired. I am tired fast. Also because I was sleeping in a tent, and I mostly slept like, there were ants in my tent! I thought, it's a tent, animals won't get in. But they did! So I slept horribly, because I had to sleep in my sweater because it would be cold otherwise, and there was wind and everything. That night at 4 a.m, a few people from my group went up to my tent. "Quentin! Hey, Quentin! Do you want some shawarma too?" "No! I don't want shawarma at 4 a.m. Why would you want to wake me at 4 a.m. for shawarma? But the fun part is that I didn't actually wake up. The next morning they told me they basically moved me like 3 meters, which is impossible because I nailed it to the ground, but I think they were pretty drunk. And they said that they were waking me for shawarma, but I just slept right through it because I'm a heavy sleeper. Okay, so there was a competition on Thursday because the camp would last until Friday, and Thursday there was this competition. All of the groups would get a specific song and we would have to make a video, which I think is pretty cool because, you know, that's what I do. So we went to record stuff. First off, we didn't have a camera, so everything was shot on a phone. You know what it looks like when you try to shoot a music video with a phone? So I wasn't really pleased about that in the first place. Then we had to find a computer in school because we had to bike all the way to school every day, which was far, like 10 kilometers. So to get a computer and decent editing software, which didn't exist there. So at one point we found an iMac somewhere with the only editing software, iMovie, which is like the Mac equivalent of Windows Movie Maker. So I wasn't really particularly happy about that, and my group was like, you know what's funny? If we end the video with a close-up of all of our faces. So they went to record my face like a close-up like this. Like really close-up. So I thought, yeah, sure, that's fun. And then they were like, or we'll do just Quentin's face! Oh, why? So in the end, the video was like 1 minute long, we had the remixed version and it was short and stuff. Then there was this 30-second close-up of my face, like standing like. Then there were the credits. Quentin, someone else. Quentin, someone else. Quentin, someone else. Quentin, someone else. Quentin. And then, hugely displayed, it said, "Thanks, Quentin." And everyone was like, "Oh, did you work so hard on the video?" And I was like, "Not really. While we were editing on that iMac, I actually fell asleep on a table." Which happened, because I was really tired. But they thought I was funny or anything, so they put me in it like a lot. So after being displayed on Thursday night, all of those, everyone was like, "Thanks, Quentin," and which happened for like weeks when we started. So everyone was like, "Quentin, hey, thanks, man," because it became like an inside joke for the first years. But anyway, the night before that, on Wednesday, I met this guy named Jasper. To be able to pronounce it a little bit more English, I'll call him Jasper. So he told me that he is a famous Dutch YouTuber, because his voice sounded a lot like it. And he has never actually showed his face. So, being the naive person I am, I instantly was like, "Oh really? That's cool." Of course, I shouldn't have believed him because, yeah, I was like, no, why would someone lie about that? Yeah. But anyway, he's a nice guy. But, okay, so back to Thursday night. And after showing all of the videos at 10 p.m., the group leaders wouldn't be responsible anymore for people. So the moment it was 10 o'clock, we were outside of the building. The guy looks at his watch and he's like, "10 o'clock! We're no longer responsible for Quentin! Bye!" And they were all gone. What? I didn't know how to get back! Because they wanted to go clubbing for 10,000 hours again, and I didn't want to come. So they just left me in the middle of nowhere. Okay, it was in the middle of the city, but I didn't know where to go. So then I saw Jasper, and I was like, "How do I get back to the camp?" And he was like, "Oh, you're serious?" "Yes, I really don't know." "Yeah, you can come with us, but we're going to an Irish pub first." Really, a pub? No, that's fun, because there's no loud music and everything. So then I saw Leonard, the tall guy, and the other people with their tents beside mine. And they were all heading there, so I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll go." And they were all really nice people, and we became friends, and it was fun. Because the music in a pub isn't particularly loud, you can actually understand each other, so it was fun, and they, like, helped me get home. And the next morning everyone was like, and everyone was packing their tents, and I met my father and he drove me back home, and I said, "You know what, it's actually pretty funny." But I was really tired because I had slept so badly. But, you know, besides all of the weird things, it gave me a nice head start for, you know, making friends at the university, and it was fun, and I think it's nice to look back at it. So yes, that is basically the story of how I went to introduction camp. Have you ever been to introduction camp? Just let me know, or camp in general, let me know what it was like. If you want to see more videos like this, leave a thumbs up, and if you want to see new videos every week, right to your subscription box, click on subscribe. But above all, I really hope you enjoyed watching this and hearing my story, and see you later, guys.